What's good, y'all? Low Budget Lizard here. If you saw my last video, you saw unedited footage of this very 5K that I ran as a replacement to a high school cross-country meet that I was not able to participate in. Without further ado, let's get into the race. And we are off. My goal for this one, or the first goal at least, was to try to get out fast, because that's always been a problem for me. I would always go out in like 5:40 pace, but then have an average pace of about 5:30. For positioning purposes, I need to get better at starts. But as you see, I got out in first, and my goal was to just stay that way. And by the way, my apologies in advance, because I was wearing a GoPro for the first time on my head. And I did not realize that the camera angle was a bit on the high side, so yeah, you might be staring at the sky for a little while. Anyways, this race, after the start, you basically just run down Main Street, and I had no clue where I was going, and so a cop car was basically just showing me where I was supposed to go. It basically is a straightaway, and then it's a U-turn afterwards. Right now, I'm running at about 5-minute pace. I was not under the impression I was actually going that fast, but because of how big American roads are, it made me feel like I was running slower than I actually was. So I would check my watch, and then I see that I'm running at like 5:05, which is a ridiculous pace, especially for me, because I've never run that fast for a full 5K before. And I was pretty sure that I was getting some distance between me and second place, but I wanted to be sure, so I would do the thing where I would just like look over my shoulder occasionally, even though you're not really supposed to do that. I'm just really anxious about getting run down. It's the thing I truly need to work on. But anyways, here we come across. I just finished the first hill, and I was actually not feeling great. My legs were already starting to get sore, like only about a half mile in, which is definitely not a good sign. But since I'm an optimist, I really thought that I was just gonna cruise through it, and then it would get better as time goes on. Am I correct? We'll see how it goes. And by the way, running about 5:30 pace is around 11 miles per hour. So not a blazing speed, but you can definitely tell between that and something like a jog. And so the 5 people that were on the sidewalk at the time, because it was 9 a.m., people do not want to be awake that early on a Saturday. So it felt kind of like a ghost town, other than the area where the race starts and ends, because, you know, everybody's there to support a fellow runner that's in the race. And anyways, we're coming on one of the worst hills in the entire race, and you can see it at the bottom of your screen. Oh, never mind. No, you can't. And I'm finally looking down, and now it's at a normal angle. We'll see how long that lasts. Focus here was to just stay relaxed, keep my head down just a little bit, and just pretend my legs were like a bicycle. And it worked. I mean, my legs started feeling a bit more sore than before, but, you know, it's okay. Everybody has their day, and I think I'm probably gonna get better. I think that the soreness is gonna go away at the time. I'm still thinking this. You know, it's an unhealthy amount of optimism I have in these kinds of things. But anyways, I've rounded the top of the hill, and I'm going back down. This course is really just all hills, whether it's a nice sloping downhill or it's a really bad uphill. There's not really a flat section of this course. It can feel flat sometimes, but it's really just a transition between high and low, or uphill and downhill, basically. But it's not like the hills were horrible or anything. There was just a lot of them. They were very frequent. And again, I was completely alone on this part, so I was basically pacing myself. I was treating this kind of like a time trial, even though it wasn't on the most ideal course to do so. The guys behind me never were too close to me, other than at the very beginning of the race, but I didn't know this. In fact, I thought I heard some of the footsteps which were actually from the cops that were making sure that I wasn't going the wrong direction. I thought those were the fellow runners slowly catching up to me while I was having really sore legs. And I constantly had to adjust, not constantly, but I would occasionally have to readjust my GoPro and make sure it never fell over, because I could not find the thumb screw for it, so it was actually zip tied to the head strap. That was ChatGPT's idea, because that was the first thing I did when I couldn't find the thumb screw was, hey ChatGPT, I cannot find the thumb screw. What the hell should I do? And that was his very first suggestion, and it was already 1 a.m. I was not trying to read all 6 options it gave me, so I went with the first one, which was a zip tie. And I didn't even know I had one until the morning after. I just banked on my dad having one, and luckily he did. W dad for that one. I couldn't even do my warm-up beforehand because it took like 20 minutes to figure out that damn zip tie, because it wouldn't like zip all the way to where I wanted to, no matter how many times I tried. U-turn. And then, so all I had time for was drills, a couple of strides, and some stretches. And that might be the reason why I didn't run quite as fast as I wanted to today, and also why I was sore at the beginning of the race. The good thing is, by around 1.2 miles in, so a little less than halfway in, my soreness finally went away, and I finally felt normal. It's just completely different from how it usually is. Usually, I'm not sore at the beginning, I'm sore in the middle, and I'm slightly less sore at the end just because of adrenaline. But in this instance, I felt sore at the beginning, not sore in the middle, and we'll see how we're feeling by the end. You'll see. And by this point, I'm definitely out of the downtown area, and we're towards the outskirts. Even fewer people than before. Even though I had my watch, I'm still not very smart during my races, and I'm not very good at math. So at 1.3 miles in, I kept thinking to myself, I'm not even close to halfway, when truly I was. And I was just looking for that nice, bright beacon of hope, also known as the halfway point orange cone, for me to run around and just hope that it would be over soon. Because while I was enjoying the race for sure, I was just alone, my legs were still kind of sore, all that jazz, alright? And we're coming up on yet another hill. Yeah, there's more. There's like 8 of them going one way, and you go through the same 8 going the other way. But I do remember that the race started on a downhill, so unfortunately the race would also have to end on an uphill. I've always wanted to like cleverly hide my full face, like I would be wearing sunglasses or the picture would be kind of grainy or something, but I gotta bring my sunglasses. It's not that big of a deal. So that was a good race. I really enjoyed it. The wind was not to my back at the beginning. Sorry, vibing with the music. It's not that deep. So official face reveal. Hello, my name's Low Budget Lizard. So, yeah, catch with you later.
All right, male overall, first place.
Low Budget Lizard.
It's 17 minutes and 32 seconds.
Yes, my prize was a Stanley Cup. At least I know who to give this to for Christmas.